Jeez. Hey, what's up, guys? I was gonna do a something new, a voiceover on this. Mainly because there's a lot of little details, and to me, wrapping up this engine build and install, that I just didn't really want to leave anything out and kind of let you guys know what I did and what I do different and what worked and what didn't. But yeah, here's from the last video, us installing the 22RE that I rebuilt. There it is. I rebuilt this in my living room over the winter. And it wasn't too difficult. There's definitely a couple things I would do different, but here's the aftermarket mechanical oil gauge. That's where I tapped into on the block. There's already a bolt there with threads, and you just gotta get an adapter. Here's the old exhaust, basically downpipe coming from the manifold, and it's someone previously had booger welded that thing up. Yeah, this was a aftermarket Flowtech shorty header. I think I got it from Jay's. And it's got a coating on it that I didn't realize it had that burns off once it starts to go through its heat cycles. So if you get that, you might want to strip that coating off and actually paint it. Here I am just trying to fab up some sort of exhaust for the first fire up. I just didn't want to have just the manifold and zero muffler, just for my neighbor's sake. I actually was able to do this at work, thankfully. Here we got the lower plenum or manifold on, along with the fuel rail and injectors. I just went through and I put a rebuild kit on those injectors, where it's just new seals and O-rings and stuff, and it all cleaned up pretty nicely. You can actually test the injectors with a 5-volt battery and some carb cleaner. There's the upper intake or upper plenum with the throttle body. Everything cleaned up pretty nicely. Oh, this is an alternator for a Jaguar. It's actually Denso, so the plugs match up from your factory harness to the Jaguar alternator. You just got to modify the bracket a little bit. I just had to grind it out some, but it seems to be working pretty decent. There's the old cat. There's the O2 sensor. It actually goes up through the floor pan, connects under the driver's seat. And it's honestly, it's kind of a pain to to get to a little bit. I don't know. It's different. It's kind of a different method of doing things, but it's really not that hard to replace your O2 sensor. There we go. Denso replacement. Part number. And you'll see I pretty much either used factory Toyota or Denso parts as much as I could on this rebuild just to rule out a cheap part messing me up. And really the few parts that I couldn't get that were factory Toyota or Denso, those were kind of the ones that have given me trouble after the rebuild. But pretty much everything I used in Japan on it, and you're better off just spending a little extra money just for the peace of mind. There we go. That's the exhaust I fabbed up. That's actually you can get that bung through, I think, LC Engineering. I just welded it on, but that way you can put an O2 sensor pretty much anywhere on the pipe. There's the power steering. Had to remove the alternator. I think I pulled not alternator, but distributor. Here's the vacuum tree that sits on the side of the valve cover, in between valve cover and the intake manifold. The main function of it is pretty much the EGR stuff. I mean, it has a lot of other functions, but since I did the EGR delete, I wanted to remove it and clean it up, so you can go through and trace, which basically vacuum port goes to what, and there wasn't a whole lot. Once you get rid of the EGR, you get rid of a lot of that clutter that's on top of the valve cover. I kept a couple things just because later on I
2 middle ones.
Hope to have AC and stuff like that, but
right there. This is, I believe, my VSV.
and here you can see kind of how it looks without that. It cleans up the valve cover a lot. There, since I was running the different alternator, I upgraded all of my main 12 volt power supply cables and my grounds. But yeah, I kept those just in case I wanted to run AC and whatever. But yeah, you just plug off whatever you don't need. There's the block off for EGR stuff, block off throttle body. It's all super simple and cleans it up a whole lot. Here in this part, I forgot to push in the clutch to, I was just spinning the engine over to prime everything and I was getting oil to the gauge, and I had it spilling over to a little cup, and first I thought I messed something up tremendously why it wouldn't turn over, but it's just because I wasn't pushing in the clutch. But at least I was priming the fuel pump. Oh yeah, this ended up leaking. I remember I spent a bunch of money on a factory Toyota O-ring to seal it up, and it ended up leaking anyway, and I just put some water pump thermostat housing RTV on it, and it sealed it up. There I am, getting the exhaust finished up. I definitely wish I had used a little bit better muffler than the Shorty Cherry Bomb. It's just way too loud, and I ended up putting an exhaust tip on there too to quiet it down. But yeah, basically, I'm just not a punk 16-year-old anymore, and kind of want my cars to be quiet, mainly just so whenever you're breaking in an engine, you need to be able to hear any sort of weird sound or whatever. So I'm probably going to switch out muffler. There we go, getting factory Toyota distributor cap and rotor. Just trying to use the good stuff, just to eliminate any sort of problem I might have on a startup, like a misfire or timing issues. That way I don't have to worry about it. Yeah, here I have the EFI fuse pulled and the coil to distributor unplugged, and now I'm just priming the oil system basically and checking for leaks, like if I had a fuel leak right off the bat or anything like that. Although I had the EFI fuse unplugged, but yeah, she fired right up. Kind of sounded a little weird at first, but then it just smoothed right out, went into high idle. You can hear the power steering pump screaming, and basically all you need to do is turn your wheel to bleed the system. But, you know, I was just checking to make sure I actually had fluid in it and whatnot. There's that exhaust manifold coating burning off. I thought I had a huge exhaust leak at first and was scratching my head, but they even warn you on the description of the part that that stuff burns off, and I just didn't read it and didn't notice. So I need to pull it off and paint it and finish painting up the rest of the exhaust system, and probably switch out a muffler or add another one. I got a V-band in there. But yeah, that's the coating burning off of that manifold. I really need to tidy up those spark plug wires. Charging, and it has awesome oil pressure. Still can't figure out how to get that tach to work, because it is jumping around all over the place, and you can set it to where it'll be on 4-cylinder, or see, there it is set on 4, but then it just jumps around all over the place. And I've tried hooking it up in different areas that are supposed to work, but still can't. Yeah, there goes that coating on the exhaust manifold. I thought I had a huge leak and was burning coolant or something. I was kind of tripping out for a second. There, the thermostat opened and I spilled coolant all over the place. Yeah, main reason I wanted that tack to work was I got a new head. It was an evergreen head, and I got a break in the cam, and you got to seat your rings, and there's a process to doing all of that, with holding RPMs at a certain level and varying your RPM. So I just had to kind of do it based on ear. Really, I wish I could have put this engine through a certain number of heat cycles and in more of a consistent climate. This was towards the end of winter, and we would have nice days and then super cold days, and really I think that ended up biting me in the butt in the end, without really being able to break it in like a decent climate and put it through certain heat cycles. But you know, that's like one of the things I would do differently now. Yeah, at idle, the oil pressure was, I think, around like, 10-15 psi, and I was kind of worried. But these 22RE engines, they don't really need much oil pressure at all. I think as long as you're above 5 psi, you're good. They don't need much at all, and it's kind of one of the reasons why they are as reliable as they are, is not needing a ton of oil pressure to keep everything lubricated and running. Yeah, at this point, the 4Runner had been sitting for a few months, and dude, it was filthy. It took the machine shop kind of longer than I was expecting for them to get me my block back, but they did a pretty good job, so I can't complain. And all they did, they bored and honed the block, and they put my pistons on the connecting rod and wrist pins. You have to press them out on these engines. There's the first little rip. And everything was feeling good. I was taking it easy, obviously. Those first few braking miles, I also had a new clutch on there, so you got to brake in the clutch. The fan shroud kept hitting the fan. I needed to adjust it, but yeah, I thought I had a knock there for a second. Definitely need to tidy up those spark plug wires. Those are NGK.
Yeah.
Fire's right up.
Right. Let me see it real quick.
Oil pressure shoots right up. Bolts are good. I still haven't figured out how to get the tack to work. It's all over the place. It says to press the button on the back. Yeah, if any of you guys have an aftermarket tack on your 22RE and have gotten it to work, and let me know where you got your tack signal from. There's a port by where you pull the codes, the diagnostic port. There's a port there under the hood that says tack on it, and I know some people go to the negative side of the coil. I've tried both, and it does the exact same thing. So if any of you guys know where to tap into at, or what I'm doing wrong, or if it's just the tack I got is not right, comment down below. I definitely don't know everything, but hey, it's fun to learn.
Can't see a damn thing.
This is kind of the first real maiden voyage. Just a rip around the neighborhood. She was doing great. Kind of spot welding the little leaks I had in the exhaust. My welder was welding like crap, but I got it.
Birdie.
Somehow a bird got
How in the
inside
hell?
the cab.
Did
I
it
don't
even
know
get
how.
in there? Dude, are you stupid? Hey, bird, over here. God. How did it get in?
This is a random bird.
Seriously, how did it get in?
So this was one of the biggest issues I had is I reused my old timing cover, and I guess just removing everything, like all the threads in it were just totally clapped out. So I ended up having to helicoil all the threads going into the water pump. My water pump was just leaking no matter what I did, and I just couldn't seal it up, and the threads were just gone. So yeah, if I could do this all over again, I would definitely buy a new timing cover and replace it. It was just kind of one of those things. I figured I could reuse it, and now I understand why everybody replaces them whenever they do a rebuild. But I fought that for a while, and it was a total pain. But yeah, she actually rips after the rebuild. Before the rebuild, fifth gear was basically useless, and I could barely get around 55. But yeah, guys, thanks for watching.